Hello, hello, and welcome. Did you know that there are two different types of mentors, and that choosing the wrong kind of mentor at an important moment in your career could actually prevent you from getting ahead? I'm here to talk to you today about the two kinds of mentors. Which one do I choose now? Now, most of us have heard that mentorship is important to help us advance in our careers, and it is true. A great mentor can help you learn the ropes and really expedite your growth, especially if mentorship, the kind that they're providing, is a match for your level and for your needs. But it turns out that there are also two different stages of mentorship. So, to forge a great relationship with a mentor, you actually have to understand which stage you are in right now. If you are here with me live and you are out there, put here or hello or something in the chat so that I know who's out there listening, or just kind of wave and say hi. So I'm excited to be here with you. This is a topic that I think a lot about. I serve in many ways as a mentor myself, and I have been mentored by a lot of amazing people. I will say, when it comes to great mentorship, the most important thing is that the mentor is able to meet you at the stage of growth that is the most authentic and correct for you right now. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to explore the value of mentorship at different stages in your career, and also the potential risks and rewards of selecting the right kind of mentor for you. Okay, once again, if you're out there, say hello in the chat. Let me know you can hear me so I know that we are on. I'm going to go ahead and continue. For those who may be watching and don't know me well yet, I am LeeAnn Mallorie. I'm the founder and CEO of Guts and Grace Leadership, where we help women leaders who are struggling with challenges like burnout, invisibility, or a lack of a sense of deeper purpose become resilient and recognized industry leaders. We do this with a unique methodology that focuses on mindset, intuition, and embodied wisdom, which underscores everything else you do as a woman at work. So we are not really focused on tactics, strategies, the technical competencies, these kinds of things. Really, what we do at Guts and Grace is the underlying stuff, the stuff that is the root cause of who you be, which very much has to do with how you get ahead and also what you get recognized for. If you are curious about this particular kind of approach to leadership, here as we're beginning, I invite you actually to check out our masterclass if you want to go deeper. We have a masterclass that is pre-recorded called Activate Your Leadership at gutsandgrace.com/masterclass. You're welcome to bookmark that for later and check it out. And ultimately, in this work, what I am inviting you into is a new paradigm of leadership that may turn what you think you know about leadership on its head in a good way. So if this sounds intriguing, one, stick around. You're in the right place. We're going to dive into our mentorship topic here, but also feel free to track me here online, check out Guts and Grace, or join our masterclass at some point when you have some time. Okay, so we are here today to talk about the topic, the two kinds of mentorship, and make sense for ourselves of which one should I choose. Now, when we think about mentorship, I often think about this incredible relationship where somebody has me feel seen. I'm able to really understand myself. They're giving me great advice. When I sit with them, I have new insights. I'm learning something. I've had a lot of really positive experiences with mentors in my life. I've also had some not excellent experiences with mentors in my life. Perhaps you have had the same. And I've asked myself a number of times, well, what really has made the difference? What got me, to feel, oh, this was a great mentoring relationship, or actually this one didn't go so well. And I really have the same question when I'm working with clients, either in a mentorship or a coaching role, because most of us have a number of different mentors in our lives. So if you think about mentoring for yourself, I'll ask this question. Have you ever had the experience of being really seen, of feeling like you're in a relationship where the person gets you, where they're offering advice, it's really meeting your needs? When you go out and try the thing on, think everything comes together and it's working really well? If so, you probably have a sense of what a great mentoring experience feels like, or what the kind of overall essence of that experience is. So if you're listening here or you're watching later, I invite you to put a few words in the chat, let's say, that describe the qualities of a great mentor from your perspective. What are the qualities of someone who's mentoring you when you feel like it's really going well? Of course, this might be something personal. So you may have the quality of fierceness in your desire for mentorship. I may have the quality of gentleness in mine. So it's not like there's one quality that's the right quality for a great mentor. But ask yourself this question, whether you're here live or watching later, what qualities would make a great mentor for you? Already that's a good start, right? If you have a certain thing you're identifying and that quality feels like it's happening, it's a really good compass to know if you're in a good mentoring relationship. However, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are two types of mentorship that are appropriate at two stages in our career growth and development. And it isn't totally linear. It might be that you're in one stage and then you move back and then you move forward. So know that this is a bit more of a cyclical, maybe than a linear piece of advice. But it's very important that you know which stage you are in and which kind of mentor that you need. Otherwise, sometimes you end up maybe having a great feeling of the experience, but not actually getting exactly what you need to advance you to the next level. So let me tell you a little bit about these two types or two stages of mentorship. First of all, the kind that most of us tend to think about, I think initially, or maybe we think of a hybrid, but initially when we're thinking about mentorship, we're often thinking about the kind of mentorship that I would call capacity building mentorship. And it's about helping you become a pro. In particular, a pro in your industry or in the type of role that you are in. So in earlier stages in your career, or when you are early on, let's say, in a new particular type of role or a new industry, your primary focus in mentorship is going to need to be really learning the ropes, that there are things that you don't know yet about how the industry works, what this role is all about, how things are done around here, what success actually looks like, how one would get ahead. And just knowing that, just kind of skipping the step of having to learn it from scratch yourself and being able to be influenced by or guided by someone who has already done it before is a very important type of mentorship. A person who is this kind of mentor for you might help you do things like know what the industry standard is for X, or help you think like someone who's been in the industry for a long time thinks about Y. They might help you know what gets rewarded, what kind of language to use that will make sense to the people around you. They might have a particular go-to strategy that they've used to succeed, to make something happen or to get ahead, that they can just give you. And then you're like, wow, that actually works around here. If I do exactly that thing they've done before, I'm able to succeed, or I'm able to figure something out. They also might have industry specific knowledge, if this is the type of mentor you've chosen, where they just help you leapfrog and not have to read 100 other books or things that people have written about this subject. They may be like, this is how it's done. This is the answer. This type of mentorship is wildly helpful at these moments in your career where, again, you're earlier on and you're kind of learning the ropes, or you're just stepping into a new role or a new industry, for example, that they can just expedite things for you. They're really well suited to help you solve problems that are common in your role or in your industry. They're also really well suited to kind of help you take some shortcuts that you might be able to take actually to make sense of the industry around you. This is a really good way to build a strong foundation in your role and or in your industry knowledge. It's a way to build a strong foundation for this time in your career. It can help you to generate political savvy. And last but absolutely not least, this type of mentor can also be great for helping you make connections that you will need to be able to advance to the next level, or just get your job done at the level or in the role that you're in. So certainly a mentor who knows other people because they've been in the industry, because they've done things, they've been in that type of role, the introductions that can get made in this type of mentorship are invaluable. This type of mentorship can also help you build confidence and boost your understanding of the rules of play in this role, in this industry, etc., etc. And this is really important. So to be able to have a foundational level of, I trust myself, I know how things work, I'm not second guessing myself all the time. Besides the content of that knowledge, the confidence or the energetic of that knowledge really makes a big difference. So if you have not received this type of mentoring, or if you have and you are, I would say good job. This is really a great way to leverage the setup or the relationship that is a mentoring relationship. However, there can be a dark side to this type of mentorship. And I would say the way I think about it is this is like first step kind of mentorship. So there's a moment in your career where either this kind of mentorship can actually hold you back or get in your way, or it just doesn't take you to the next place that you may need to go. So that is what I want to talk to you about here. The second type of mentorship happens when you've outgrown the need to know how things are typically done. So I'll give you an example. It's not uncommon that I'm coaching a woman who has advanced in her career, has done a good job, has achieved some things, and is actually ready for a role that might be different than what she'd done before, or maybe taking on something that's a bit more innovative, or actually is really at the point where self definition of who she becomes in her leadership or in her impact, irrespective of what the industry rules or standards currently are, this is a particular kind of moment. And often, if I meet someone who's in that kind of moment and they have had for a while a traditional mentor, it's not like they get rid of that mentor, but they might notice that certain advice that that mentor is giving is in conflict with their own intuition. Or in some way, it's like, I feel like I could take X step or I could try Y, but that's not how it's been done around here before. Or that's not what I did to get to this next moment in my career. Now, a really good traditional mentor would be able to say, here's what I've done, and give you the blessing to go do it your way as well, because don't we all want the people that we're mentoring to really succeed? But one, not every mentor will do that. So sometimes it's like they're a bit, one can be stuck in our own box, right? It's like, I can tell you what I've done and I don't think you should try it different. This is what works. This is actually how things work, or this is what's done. So you may find that your mentor isn't as malleable as you need them to be about your ideas that are out of their box. The other thing I think that happens more commonly is because you trust them so much, because you've in fact given in a way your, because I give your power away, that's a bit of a dramatic thing to say, but you've given your sense of trust to this person that has succeeded, has done well. You see the results, you see their degrees, you see the things they've accomplished on paper, you see how much money they've raised, etc. That even if they say, hey, I did it this way, you don't need to do it this way, that some part of your brain is like, but that's the way that works. Or some part of your brain is like, I still think they might be right. Or you begin to second guess. You start to have this experience of, maybe I shouldn't go for that. Or maybe my intuition isn't quite right here, or something, which can really become a bit of an Achilles heel at this moment. If you are at a moment where you're ready for a step change or some kind of increased velocity that takes you beyond the game that your current mentor has already learned how to play. So this is where the first type of mentorship, this kind of capacity building or becoming a pro type of mentorship, can begin to be a little bit like a glass ceiling. Because in your own mindset, and in some ways perhaps in the relationship, it keeps you in a box that you actually might need to break out of to become the absolute most whole, let's say, and elevated version of who you can be as a leader at this moment in time. I especially think this can be true if your leader is more than 10 years down the road, like beyond your age or your time in the workforce, because how it was done back then may not actually be how it needs to be now for the same kind of success to happen, or maybe a different kind of success is what's actually desirable now that isn't a match for what they learned how to do. The great thing about this is it can start to be a condition where with that traditional mentor, reverse mentoring starts to happen, that the relationship begins to evolve if you see it and you're courageous enough to do it. Okay, maybe how they did it isn't going to get me to the next place, and maybe they're willing to learn from you or be in that kind of game with you. So that can be great when that actually happens. What I would say is at this time, if you're starting to feel this, right, that there's a tension between how it's been done and what you may see, or the traditional type of mentorship isn't actually working anymore or feels a bit over contained or constraining for you, or it's making you second guess yourself, or if you have that type of mentorship and that base is covered and it feels like you also may need something else, not just the how it's been done, but the what's next for me, that there's a second type of mentorship that's actually more ideal for this stage. I call this type of mentorship initiatory mentorship, or rather than becoming a pro, more like becoming an artist. Why do I say an artist? We're not talking about making art here. One of my favorite quotes on the planet and in the whole world in history is by Pablo Picasso. And he said, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. I don't, of course, know what Pablo Picasso meant by that, but I see the kind of art that he made, and that inspires me. And I believe what that means for me when I engage with that quote is that there's a certain moment of transition from learning how to do things the right way, from learning the rules, from becoming a pro, from getting good at something and getting good at something in a paradigm that currently exists, to this moment of escape velocity where actually I'm not following those rules anymore, where actually I'm writing my own rules, where something deeper perhaps is guiding me. And I would say that's a moment in our careers where we can become even more aligned and fully, let's say, self expressed and fully possessed in our leadership in such a way that new things get to come from what we bring to our roles, to the industry, or to our organizations. We could call this innovation. I think sometimes innovation has a bit of a narrow lens, like, oh, it means technology and we're making something new in this or that way. But really, it's just like I'm forwarding something versus I'm replicating something. And if either you are built to do this in general, like if that's a core skill or superpower or just like your kind of design, or if you're at a moment in your career where that's the thing it will take to get you to the next level because you've done all of the pro things and you mastered a bunch of stuff, and it's like what's next for me is beyond that, then a capacity building mentor may not ultimately serve you, and an initiatory mentor might. What do I mean by an initiatory mentor? This is the kind of mentor that is actually much more able to attune to you, your build, what you're designed for, who you have the potential to become, as opposed to what should be done or what has been done before. Because listening at that level is a different type of skill. It's a different kind of conversation you may be in with that mentor. And it actually requires the mentor to be someone who takes their own blinders off, let's say, or puts their own beliefs aside about what's possible or what could be done or how it could work, and starts to actually listen to the unique combination of what you bring and how that thing that you bring might be able to create a certain kind of outcome or impact or result if just tended for its own accord. This is a little bit, I would say, of a it might be a contrarian perspective. I don't know. If you know me well, you know that I deeply believe actually that each of us is built for something, that we come in with and also learn over the course of our lives a number of skills that are, when we're at our best in our career, when we're making the biggest impact or we're reaching the top of the ladder that is our ladder to climb, not someone else's, that there's an ultimate version of what that could be, how it could look, or the kind of impact that it could make. It's almost like it's a blueprint. Like you have a seed, it might become an oak tree. So I really think about that when I think about how we develop as leaders. And this listening to, truing to, working with the blueprint, I hold as more of an initiation than a capacity building or learning how to do something. Because at some point, ultimately, that person sitting in front of me, or if it's you and you're sitting in front of your mentor, you just may have a different blueprint than what the industry thinks should be done. Why do I know this works? Look at some of the people who we admire. I'll give you a few of my own, right? Sarah Blakely, Eileen Fisher. Uh, you may have totally different people that you would name. Oprah. People who didn't just do what the next thing was to do or climb the next rung on the ladder, but actually followed something that was more inbuilt in them. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't rise in traditional industry or get the next job, right? I have people who I admire in this way or have mentored in this way or have mentored me in this way, where the next thing is fairly predictable. Like maybe it is the C-level promotion that you've been wanting or the next C-level promotion that you've had your eye on in a different industry or a different kind of company. But nonetheless, it's like, wow, I'm really operating at my best there. I'm operating on all cylinders, and maybe it is not that surprising what I'm doing, but it feels 100% aligned. So this type of mentorship is about listening to and drawing out actually the blueprint. It's about supporting you to break through your own plateaus so that you're able to fly. And this type of mentorship often requires more artistry and less certainty, coming back to my comment about becoming an artist, that is riskier and just a different type. It's not about getting the answer, right? It's not just checking the box. It's about opening to something that is more. So if you are listening, I actually want to invite you to take a moment and just check in with yourself. Where are you at in your own career? Because if you're going to choose a mentor, knowing where you're at, self-assessing around this actually does make a difference. Are you at the point where you're getting started, your wheels are a little bit wobbly, you don't actually know all the rules, you're not a pro yet, and the kind of mentor that could give you those answers and show you the ropes, teach you how to do it, reveal what they tried that didn't work, would be the accurate type of mentor for you right now? How do you know? How do you know this is where you're at? What are you seeing in terms of evidence, in terms of the kinds of struggles you have, in terms of the way you're thinking, in terms of what's getting in your way? On the other hand, are you perhaps like, I've done that already? I have already been mentored in this way. I have this kind of this kind of mentor, or I don't, but I can see how I don't because I felt overly contained by them, or they're giving me stuff that isn't what I need. How do you know if you're in the stage that's more the becoming an artist, initiatory mentorship type stage? What are you seeing? What are the results? Where are you feeling stuck? What's it like? And with those questions in mind, I want to ask you this question is, how would you like to be mentored next? You can use these two distinctions if they speak to you. I'd like to be initiated. I'd like to become a pro. How would you like to be initiated next? And perhaps, like I said earlier, what are the qualities of support? The kind of presence you'd like that mentor to have, the way it might feel when you're in relationship with them, for example. What I want to offer as a next step is not to go find a mentor tomorrow, necessarily, unless you have one close at hand and this has helped you identify that they're actually the right person for you. If so, great. But if not, or in addition, what I want to invite you to do actually is to pay attention over the next week or two as you engage with the various kinds of people around you who offer you advice or who you learn from. They could be just friends. They might actually be your real mentors that you already have. Could be peers, could be your supervisor, could be other colleagues. But start to pay attention to how their advice and how their support does or doesn't resonate with you. Are they relationships where you're typically kind of getting the next piece of information, you're learning a concrete fact, you're gaining something about the experience they already have or how things are done around here, quote unquote? And is that working? Do you like that? Does that feel good? Does that move something forward for you? Or is it comfortable and it feels good, but it doesn't move anything forward, for example? Or are you actually engaged with? Are there people around you that are kind of challenging you or uplifting you or helping you grow your own superpowers or think outside the box in a way that actually feels right and resonant for this moment in time? What opens you? What tends to shut you down? What has you question yourself? What has you feel more grounded and courageous to take another step? I invite you to do this not just in the form of going to interview mentors, but with anyone and everyone around you, because in a way, any relationship could be the learning ground for building this type of mentoring relationship. Doesn't mean that you'll choose them as your official mentor, but you can use the relationships you're in to start to get a sense of what type of way of engaging and being mentored or learning or receiving advice or getting encouraged to grow most fits without having to make a decision about it in your mind. So I did write a blog on this topic. It's not up, but it will be very soon. So you'll find it at gutsandgrace.com, I think /blog, where our blogs live. If you want to read or revisit this particular topic and the two types of mentorship. And there's how would I say? When we decide with our minds, sometimes we get a slightly different answer than we decide with our bodies. So being able to track, see what's happening around you, feel, oh yeah, that's clicking, I want more of that, can be a great way to somatically practice your way into the answer to the question, which type of mentorship is right for me? I hope that makes sense. Okay. If this feels interesting, useful, or inspiring to you, I also want to let you know that certainly mentorship, and particularly more initiatory mentorship, this second type of mentorship, is part of what we do at Guts and Grace. If you've watched one of these lives or been here with me before, you know that we offer a 30-minute discovery and visioning call. And that call is really designed to help you get a taste of what it would be like to be coached by us on really any topic that you'd like to bring, but mostly what's your next level in your work or your career, or how do you not burn yourself out while trying to get there, and what might be getting in your way. So, working with our clients in an initiatory mentorship kind of way is a very big part of what we do. That's a little bit different, I think, at Guts and Grace, and that we're quite good at. So, if that feels inspiring and you don't have someone in mind and would like to have an experience of what it feels like to be in an initiatory mentorship type of conversation, I invite you to book a call. It should be showing here, gutsandgrace.com/apply. I'd be delighted to have a conversation with you and just give you a taste of what it can be like to be worked with or seen in this way. All right, what I want to invite is, if you need to jump and you are complete, feel free to do that. If you would like, I'm going to guide just a very brief body-based centering practice before we close here. And I want to hold the intention that this is a practice to support you, again, to get even more clear about the type of moment you're in and the type of mentorship you may need. So feel free to take your eyes, if you'd like, off the screen. If you want to close them, you can, or just kind of look away and bring your awareness into your own body. And take a couple of deeper breaths. And as you do that, allow yourself to come into contact with the sensations of you right here, right now, in this moment first. I feel, I sense tension, I sense openness, I sense relaxation, I sense my own steadfastness, I sense that I'm solid, I sense that I'm collapsed. Good. And if there's anything that's tight or locked, go ahead and unlock it just a little bit to let a little more life force and aliveness flow. And then come into the awareness of your own spine and the length of your spine. And as you become aware of your spine, let yourself get a little bit taller. And as you get a little bit taller, allow this to be an indication in your body or your embodiment of being who you are and knowing what you know. I am this. I know this. Maybe even I'm ready for this. Let's just say, if this question, what kind of mentor is right for me, were around, not trying to figure it out with our minds, but it were around us, some part of us would already have the answer. This is what I need right now. This is the stage I'm at this moment. And I can almost be proud of it, right? I can own it. I can own it through the length of my spine, through my own dignity. Let's then bring our awareness to our width, so the side to side of our presence. Allow yourself to unfurl from that middle, from your spine out to the edges of your body. Take up a little more space. Getting wider. Feeling the tips of your ears, pinky fingers, pinky toes, edges of your hips, and then a little bit beyond. If I let myself take up space inside of my own self to, again, know what I know, to want what I want, to be available for what I'm ready for, how does that change things for me? So letting yourself do that in your body. And then we're going to go 360 here. So feel for a moment your back, your physical back, the space behind you. And in that space behind you, I want you to take a moment to envision, sense, or imagine a couple of things you've done already in your career. Like, where have you been? Therefore, maybe what are you ready for? like the ground you've walked, maybe the mastery you have. Here's where I'm at. Here's how far I've come. Just say, like, allow yourself to own it. Like, let it be sitting there kind of at your back behind you as part of your presence. If you were to go give a talk or a presentation right now, it would inform you. When you're not a spring chicken, it's not your first rodeo. What do they say? Yeah. Okay. And then bring your awareness to the front of your body, front of your chest, your belly, maybe the tip of your nose. And let yourself open and expand out in front of you. And let this be an expression of welcoming the future, welcoming what's coming for you, your next iteration of your work, your life, your leadership, your impact, without exactly maybe knowing what it is. And then just for fun, if you want, imagine yourself sitting in front of a great mentor, having a great conversation, even if you don't know who they are. Someone may pop into mind, great, but it could just be like there's a presence there. I'm sitting in front of them and I'm bringing all of me. I'm bringing my knowing, I'm bringing my availability, I'm bringing my history, the path I've walked, and I'm sitting in front of this person and I'm saying, help me get to where's next. See me. And just take a kind of a snapshot, a body snapshot, an energy snapshot. This is what it would be like if I was bringing all of me and they were meeting me where I am. Okay. If there's anything else you want to do to close that practice, go ahead. Trust that that happened here in this moment in your body, and you can come back to it again later when the moment is right. I want to affirm as we close here that anything you learned, realized, integrated, or practiced here serves the highest good in your life, and that any practice you decide to engage in or reflection you engage in from here on bears some fruit. I wish you a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you again here soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.